Alright, today is a very exciting day because today we are starting our first series in Jurassic World Evolution 3, the Paleo Park. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. Alright, so hello everybody and welcome to Jurassic World Evolution 3. This video is going out on the Friday, but the game released last Tuesday, the 21st of course. In spite of that, of course, I did not have early access. Like I said, I didn't have days to make stuff like other bigger content creators. I'm honestly not very surprised because before we started making content about it this month, about like Jurassic World Evolution 2, I wasn't a huge supporter of the game. I am of course a big fan of it, but I haven't made a lot of content from when it was first announced, the game, so I'm fine by that. Maybe Frontier will realize how like committed I am to this game and stuff with the episodes that we're going to be putting out, because I do want to make this a consistent series, as I've stated multiple times. And so this week I have made time for myself to start building something right away. And in that first day of getting the game, I ended up doing the campaign. I started the campaign. I didn't finish the campaign. I made it up until like the Hawaii part, or like until the raptors came out. I'm not sure how far into the campaign that was, but I did that for like an hour and a half, and then I switched to building my first park, which everything you were seeing in this episode I mainly did in one day, which was that Tuesday. The Wednesday and Thursday I spent obviously editing this video, so kind of getting it ready. But in this video we are showcasing what I did on that Tuesday and what I did when I first got the game, which is make the huge entrance to the park. Now of course the building, like where you actually enter the park, is not huge. I made it more kind of like a little kind of gazebo kind of area where you go in. The idea is to have like signs and stuff where it's like the two outer hallways are for the exit and the two inner hallways are the entrance. And if you'll notice the colors and stuff, specifically if you've been to this one specific zoo, this is inspired by the Cincinnati Zoo, I believe. Now again, I am heavily relying on my Planet Zoo skills here for making this park, because the idea behind this park, and I guess I should have started with this, is that this is the first park that we are going to be making, and this is going to be called the Paleo Park. And this park is for all of the paleo accurate species in Jurassic World Evolution 3. So this is a combination. I mostly chose this one to do it first because I have 3 parks planned. But I chose this one to do first because we can showcase a lot of the new species first, like right off the bat. So stuff like Guanlong, Lokiceratops, Patagotitan. Of course, I also again had the deluxe edition, so we can also build for Guanlong, Concavinator, Thanatostracan, and Protoceratops. So all that stuff is here. I am very excited. I also of course did pre-order it, so we have the we have the Badlands set as well, the Badlands pieces, as well as like the Clark County scenery pieces. We have everything so far. We have everything. So yeah, this is the first series that we're going to be doing, and this is entirely based off of the paleo accurate style of the game. And the idea of this is that to include paleo accurate species, we'll also be doing kind of like a modern style zoo. I'm starting with this because it's probably the most one I feel comfortable in, just to get me into building. This is not going to be a hugely detailed park. The objects are very helpful, and I think honestly this could be scenery wise a lot better, quality wise, like in a cinematic point of view, than Planet Zoo, because I think that the pieces in this game are so much more kind of like nice to look at. So in the future we will be adding this to this park, and I'm very excited because we'll probably be building some sort of like plaza in the next episode, and then after that we'll be getting into actually doing like restaurants and of course making enclosures, which is what I'm very excited for. And I almost got kind of tired by the end of this just because I don't like doing just kind of the boring stuff, but we have to start with the boring stuff of course, because it's just what we have to do. We have to do like the entrance, we have to do the buildings, the hotels, the plaza, get all that stuff out of the way before we get to the actual meat and bones and the fun stuff in the park, which is of course the dinosaurs. And of course I want to also test out some of the new attractions like the hot air balloon, the the river ride, and the petting zoo. That's what it is. Although the petting zoo is probably my least favorite of the new attractions, just because you have to use that big clanky like kind of like gate to get the species under, or like to get it to work, so it's kind of annoying to me. So yeah, in this series, these are not going to be long series. I did start this on a square map. I know you can do like the island generator, and there's a couple other like new maps. I chose to do a square map just because it's very simple and it's a nice one to like start on. Again, I'm going very baseline with this. Basic map, basic kind of building style, and of course I want to just get out of the way with the new creatures, and I want to see all those right up close. I can't wait to build for stuff like the Ornithomimus. That's going to be amazing. And it also gives me a chance to build for some of the species from the last game that I didn't really pay enough attention to. Things like Dunkleosteus, Megalodon, Concavinator, Thanatos Dragon. There are a few others that I want to work on and stuff. I think this one will mostly have we'll be kind of guiding away from larger predators or larger species, because of course a lot of those are the film ones, which aren't always that accurate. But that's all to come in the future. There is not a huge amount of species in these parks. I believe I had around 20 in total for this park. I want to keep them at a limited number so we can do multiple parks over and over. Of course, there are still loads of detail and stuff that I'll be putting into enclosures. I might also be using a lot of blueprints because I can't wait to see people work on the workshop. I'm not looking for huge stuff to use. I'm more looking for how I would do it in Planet Zoo, where you have those little little tiny things that people make. And speaking of that, it was, but moving on to actually my overall experience of building, it was alright. I do like the building system the way they have implemented it. I like it more than Prehistoric Kingdom's way, because Prehistoric Kingdoms is very janky. Prehistoric Kingdom does have the scaling, right? I do like how they do scale, because I think with Prehistoric Kingdom you can scale it in all three directions. With Planet Coaster 2 and this game, Jurassic World Evolution 3, you can only scale it the entire object, which does get a bit annoying at times. And I don't really know what the middle ground for that is, because in Prehistoric Kingdom you do have that option, but it can also get a lot very overwhelming at times. But again, if you're only limited to scaling it big or small, the whole thing, that's also very limiting, because I was trying to make a sign for the park in the waterfall section. I didn't actually record that part, but it was very hard because I couldn't line up the font with the signage. Also, it's very criminal that they don't give us the font that are on the Jurassic World signs. It's terrible. I think there's also a lot of potential for scenery pieces, and I'm very much hoping that in DLCs for this game, they do it very similar to how Planet Zoo works, is that you get scenery pieces and you get dinosaurs. I really don't want them to do what they did in Jurassic World Evolution 2, where you just get 4 new species and that's it, or you only get dinosaurs. Because now we have the idea of giving scenery pieces, and there are a lot of things that could be done in this. For example, my biggest gripe with this, specifically making the building, and first what I'm talking about is that there is no columns, or there's no wooden or square columns. And what I mean by that is that just like in Planet Zoo, you have a million different beams of wood or concrete or whatever. There are no really thin planks or beams. The closest thing you have is a concrete beam, but it's like the Jurassic Park columns kind of in the sign, where it's it's thicker near the bottom, so it's impossible, or at least maybe I didn't see it or whatever, but there is no column that it's just a beam, and it's just the same size throughout the entire thing. It's not wide in either end or anything. It's not distorted or anything. It's just a plain beam, and there is not one in here, which makes it very annoying for me about how to use it in buildings and stuff. And I was I was questioning myself in the middle of building. I was how are people doing such good buildings already in their videos? I don't understand. But then I realized, and I went back and I realized that a lot of the pieces they're using are the wall pieces, and they're not using a lot of column pieces. So it's interesting, because I realized that I should have probably done that. And the thing I built in this episode is not a actual building. It is more like a gazebo. Again, it's kind of like that little underhang area where you just go in. And I will probably eventually make an actual entrance building, or more buildings like that. Maybe we'll have another entrance or something later on. But I don't know. It's just weird to me that they didn't include that. There are a couple other things that I didn't really like how they did. Looking back at it with how big of things I was making, it would have been nice to have a actual barrier, an actual fence barrier, how the other fences work for small fences. The only small fences we have in the game are just ones you can place down one by one. And I thought this would be fine, honestly, because again, it's how it works in Planet Zoo. I should be alright. But looking back at it now with how good, even though the fences look really good, it is very tiring with the size of stuff in this game to place them one by one. It is, again, it was kind of frustrating to me, and I did eventually get around it, but it just took so much time. And I figured, and I realized that if we did have a fence maker for the small fences, then it would be so much faster. So I think it's just stuff like that can make the game a bit more convenient or efficient with building. But the pros of the building, The pieces are all amazing. I always loved, from the first 2 games, like, or specifically Evolution 2, the actual look of the pieces, like the decorations and stuff. They look so much more realistic, I guess, from Planet Zoo stuff. And with this, you basically have that times 1,000, because you have so many more scenery pieces, and they all look brilliant. There are some that are maybe not as useful, but again, a lot of them are useful. You have a lot of backstage props, you have a lot of fonts, walls, floors. You even have like a flipping road set, like a road marking set, which I found very useful. I've been surprised they actually came up with that, because I don't think we have that in Planet Zoo. Planet Zoo, if you're watching, or Frontier, if you're watching and you're looking at Planet Zoo again for Planet Zoo 2, please give me road marking pieces, because that'd be greatly appreciated. But scenery pieces are great. There are also a couple of tools in the building settings that I found very useful. The multi-selection tool specifically, I actually really like. I think I've seen a few people complain about it, but for me personally, I like how it's like you have that combined feature of using the shift button to select multiple things, but you can also just click them, or you can click like the add button, and then you can just click on other items, and then they'll just automatically add them to the group. And then you can also do the same thing with subtracting stuff. It makes it a lot easier than trying to hold down shift or control or whatever when I'm trying to like navigate, and then I accidentally let go of it, click on an item, and then I have to restart. So it's just a lot more easy to do, and it's just a lot more convenient. So there are a lot of good things with the stuff, and of course there are some things in here that I just have to get used to, honestly. I'm very skilled in Planet Zoo, I believe, and I think that I do have like the right kind of ideas for like, and I have the right like potential and stuff for building in this game, but there are just some things I just have to get used to, honestly, just for now. So I think I honestly did pretty solid with this first build. Like I tried to take it easy, especially with doing like the parking lots stuff. There was a lot of copying and pasting, like the road markings and the sidewalks and the crosswalks, but overall it looks really good. The only thing, I will probably add a few more things to the build as we go, but the main thing I wanted to add later on would be streetlights, because streetlights I know are going to take a while to actually build. And the thing also I found with this that is kind of annoying is that there are almost, or at least I guess for now that what I've seen, is that there are no really small, just general building pieces that it's kind of really hard to make your own custom things. With walls and buildings it's easy because you have all those big wall pieces, but you know how like in Planet Zoo we have like the bracket pieces, or the little tiny like plate pieces, or just like really tiny pieces that you would use to make other tiny things. In this game there aren't a lot of those. You have walls, floors, your basic stuff like that, and then you have a lot of other very generic kind of stuff, like benches, umbrellas, I don't know, lots of different types of signs and signage and fonts and everything like that. But there isn't a lot of just general stuff, and especially even for the stuff that is kind of small, you can't scale it down far enough that it's usable. So it's just very tough, and it also makes it hard for stuff like trims and things like that. So again, and this is all stuff that can be changed in the future by just giving us more of these generic pieces for building general stuff. Because I can't really see, the problem with this is that I can't really see, even if I can't build a street light, I don't see a lot of people doing it well on the workshop, because there just aren't a lot of pieces that really help make it work. And I'll probably try this eventually at some point, but for now I just kind of held off on it because I know there's probably there's not a lot of good pieces to use for it. But overall, with my building experience, I overall enjoyed it. Again, I liked it more than Prehistoric Kingdoms. I did not like it more than Planet Zoo, but Planet Zoo, setting aside my experience, I don't think anything's really going to beat Planet Zoo's building system. I've seen how it works in like Planet Coaster and stuff. It's alright, it's close, but it's just not it. Nothing has ever come close yet to Planet Zoo's building system with the tools and everything. Maybe it's something I have to do with like the hotkeys. I have to like switch around like the keys I'm pressing to do certain things in Evolution 3, and I might of course work around, like try to play around with that. But as far as like, again, I haven't changed anything in Planet Zoo's hotkeys, so again, everything is just the same like as it started in day one, and I just really prefer Planet Zoo's building system, just flat out the best in my opinion. It's just, everything works so well. Of course there are little nitpicks, like again, like that having to control everything and then accidentally misclicking something, that happens, but it's not a lot, and it's not as much as like Prehistoric, as I would do that kind of thing in Prehistoric Kingdom. And again, in Evolution 3, that's not really a problem. It's not misclicking, it's also just a lot of clicking in general, that you have to click so many times to get back to like a specific point, and then also just like to transition to like rotating something, like a different item item in a group. And especially the one thing I really didn't like was that when clicking a group of items, you had to actually go up top to a button that said edit group instead of how it would work in Planet Zoo, where you could just double click it and it would automatically take you into the group. Something like that is so quick and easy to do, like something that is just very straightforward, and it's very tiny of a detail, but it just makes the difference so much. It just makes the result so much easier and so much quicker like that for me to just get right in and just change something. Because it feels like in Planet Zoo, I could just quickly change something like in the middle of a tour. If I noticed something was wrong, I could just quickly pop into the group, fix it, align it, get out of there. With Jurassic World Evolution 3, it doesn't feel like that as much. It feels like I have to go into the group by clicking like a couple different things, delete it or align it, go back out of the group, unselect everything, and then go back in. So it just feels like a bit of a hassle. Maybe it'll change with like how much I keep playing, and it probably will, honestly, but I think for now, with my first experience, that is how I feel. Overall, not a bad experience. I honestly really like the game. Of course, I stayed on the game for almost the whole day, so I'm still very happy with how things are going with it and how things have been received. I just think there are, of course, some things that can be improved on, of course, like any game would. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for all I have to say, honestly, so far. I think we are running down the clock quite a bit in terms of this episode's length, our first series here. So yeah, I don't think there's a lot to talk about in the next episode of the series. Will probably be out possibly tomorrow. I don't know. I was planning on doing a video Friday and Saturday, but I don't know if that's how realistic that is. So, and I am recording this on the Tuesday that the game comes out on. So I don't know. We'll see if another video comes out tomorrow. If it doesn't, it will probably come out mid next week, because I just want to like roll through these and stuff as much as I can and get right into building for the dinosaurs. Very excited for that. So, in any case, I hope you all enjoyed this video. It will be coming to a close or a wrap at the end with cinematic shots, of course, just like any Planet Zoo video. I hope you all enjoyed. Hit the subscribe button and the like button if you did enjoy. It means the world to me, it means the world to the channel, and maybe we can get recognized by Frontier in the near future, hopefully. It would be amazing to me, and I'd be very excited to actually be noticed by Frontier. So I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Comment down below what you like about the series and what you want me to build for later on, and I will see you all in the next episode. Bye guys, have a great rest of your day, enjoy the rest of the video.